Hi, it's Gayle Schoen, and I wanted to demonstrate some of the options you have when you're playing from a fake book. Hopefully you'll see there's a link on the YouTube channel to the blog post for today, and you can follow along on the music, the sheet music, Careless Love, while I'm playing it. So this is page 50 from Upper Hands Piano Book 3, and I'm going to play it just as written the first time with block chords. Now if this was in a fake book, you wouldn't be seeing that bass staff. You'd only be seeing the chord symbols above. And in this particular arrangement, I used a lot of slash chords so that you don't have to jump around so much with your left hand, but you can kind of stay in the same place and play the chords. Okay, so I'm going to play page 50 just as written first. Okay, so that's just kind of a basic version of how you would play Careless Love, maybe the first time you're singing in a fake book. The second time you have some other options. I'm going to just start with a simple option, kind of an oompa bass part, where I'm playing the bottom note of the chord and then following that up with the top two. So I'll try a couple of lines like that. Alright, so that's kind of an oompa left hand. Here's another option for you. You can do kind of the same thing, but this time holding down the bottom note. So going like this, you play the full chord, and then you would just repeat the top two. Then play the next chord, full chord, and then repeating the top two as you hold down the bottom note. It kind of smooths it out when you hold down that bottom note. So full chord, top two, full chord, top two. And I'm playing these as if they were half notes, so there will be 2 chords per measure. I'm not using the pedal, but this gives kind of a pedaling effect because it really sustains the note. So here it is with hands together, doing it that way. Full chord, then the top two. I use this technique a lot in my playing because I just think it sounds good. But you can also do things like mixing that up with sometimes just keeping it a 4-beat block chord like this. might have noticed a couple times there I just lifted the top note, which is another option for you. So that time I played some block and I played some broken. And I tend to want to break them up like this when the right hand is just holding, is just a tie, like bars 3 and 4 where the word is love. By breaking up the chord like that, you're adding a little bit of extra rhythm and it just sounds a lot more interesting. Okay, so let's say you've been playing that for a while and you want to vary the left hand even a little bit more, so you can break up the chord entirely like this. So sometimes I went from bottom to top and I just played 3 notes. And then sometimes I played 4 notes. So I took the chord, I played bottom to top, and then I came back down to the middle note for the beat 4. And then definitely on those last 2 bars where I'm holding love, I want to probably do a little bit more movement. That kind of a thing. Okay, so now I'm going to play a couple of lines mixing up all those 3 ways. Okay, so that time in the last bar you can see I went from top to bottom. There isn't any particular rule about it. I happen to like the sound bottom to top, but sometimes changing it and doing it top to bottom is great too. The great thing about mixing them up is that it doesn't sound so repetitive. It keeps it kind of fresh and interesting. So once you get comfortable with those 3 different ways of doing it, which is block, and then breaking it up, playing the whole chord, and then just the top 2, and then breaking it up entirely. And then also we had talked about a 4th way, which is just doing kind of an oompa. So you can work that in as well. Now eventually, as you become a more experienced player, you can do more with bringing those notes from the chord in your left hand to your right, and using more octaves and fifths in your left. And the reason why we do this is because the piano is an orchestral instrument and it has the potential to sound like an entire orchestra right under your fingertips, which is the coolest thing about the instrument. And so if you want to spread things out a little bit, you're going to get a bigger sound, a more full sound. So what this requires is a lot of practice on your chords. You want to practice your major, minor, diminished, augmented, your major 7th, 7th, minor 7th, minor 6th. And in book 4 you'll have diminished 7ths. So I know it seems like an infinite possibility, but actually the chords that you'll be learning, you know, it's a finite number of chords that you'll be learning, and eventually you just kind of get comfortable with the patterns of all of them. And then you can start to experiment with bringing some of those notes from the left hand into the right hand. The rule with this is that you want to play notes from the chord. So for example, on the first beat, love, it's a D chord over A. Now you want to bring any notes from the D chord can come into the right hand, but they should be below the melody, because if they're above the melody, it's a little harder to hear the melody. So you want to really take the notes from the chord, from the D chord, and put them underneath the melody in your right hand. Now this is definitely an advanced skill, but I wanted to show it to you just so you kind of know where you're going, and you're going to be experiencing more of this in Upper Hands Piano Book 4. I just wanted you to know kind of what's ahead. But okay, so I'll give you a demonstration, and just know that you don't have to figure this all out right now, but just, you know, you'll start with the block chords, and then the broken up chords, and maybe the oompa, and then breaking it up entirely. And then this will be the next step, you know, maybe further up, further down the road. Okay, tripping on my own tongue. Alright, so here's Careless Love the way I would play it, doing kind of a variety of left hand rhythms, and my right hand taking some of those notes underneath the melody. Some of those chords, note from the chords underneath the melody. Alright, here we go, Careless Love. You can also play around with the rhythm a little. And also with the tempo. So I played around with the tempo a little bit, I played around with the rhythm a little bit, I definitely varied my dynamics, so those are all options that are open to you. Just kind of changing things up a little bit, mixing things up a little bit, being open to a little bit of improvisation. So that's what lies ahead of you. So I hope this demonstration made sense to you, and we can talk about it more in the future. Feel free to make some comments on the blog if you'd like to talk about it. Alright, thanks so much. Bye!